Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, it's Monday night. That means it's time for another edition of SOMSpotlight presented by Sun Parlor Trailers. My name is Craig Smolders, joined as always by Rob Young. Rob, how are you tonight?
Really good, Craig. And how you doing?
I am awesome. I'm pretty excited, actually. This is our 25th episode, 25th interview that we're doing. You were actually our first, and then you jumped on here and joined us to co-host. But yeah, 25 episodes. It's been going good. It's pretty fun. We've had a whole mix of different classes and you know, different driving ability and stuff like that. So it's been pretty interesting. We're looking forward to hopefully getting another 25 going here. What do you think of that, Rob?
I think it's great. It's a lot of fun to find out about these drivers. Yeah, you know what they do, where they came from. Not only for us, I'm sure for our listening audience as well. I noticed that Angela must have changed our introduction there a little bit. That's pretty cool. So changing it up for the 25th. That's pretty neat. Yeah,
Yep.
You're doing a great job, Craig.
Thank you, Rob, and so are you. And I'm very, very happy that you decided to join us on here. It's helped out a lot, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And especially with some of the older drivers, because there's not a lot of stuff that I could, either don't remember or wasn't around for. So you pick up the slack there, and then some of the younger drivers, I'm right there for that. So it works out pretty good. It's a good mixture, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I hope the fans are too and enjoying it. And speaking of 25 episodes, because we are on our 25th episode, we're going to celebrate that by doing a giveaway. We're going to be giving away 2 grandstand passes to any regular night racing. That's grandstand passes only to any regular racing night, regular racing Saturday night. So in order to win those tickets, all you have to do is comment a checker flag emoji in the comments under the video in the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway fan zone. throw a checker flag emoji, and you will be entered to win 2 tickets to any regular Saturday night racing in the grandstands only. So we're going to give that away. Before we get too carried away here, I want to congratulate all of our feature winners on Saturday night. It was a great night of racing. We had a great track, especially for the features. The track was fast. So congratulations to all the heat and feature winners. Congratulations to our first-time winners. Steve LaMarche won the one of the mini mod heats. That was his first win. Sean McNally won the mini mod feature. That was his first feature win. So that was really cool. And Jake Hooker won the late model feature. Modified feature was Tim Richardson. Sean McNally mini mod, as I already mentioned. And mini stock was Ryan Beaulieu, and thunder stock was who am I missing? Oh, Steve Shaw. That's who it was. Oh, 150 wins. Steve Shaw.
How can you miss Steve?
Yeah, 150 wins, so that was pretty cool. And we did all the post-race interviews. So what do you think of all that, Rob?
Oh, I think it's awesome, and and to have Sean McNally on tonight with his first feature win on Saturday, he was pretty excited, and it's really cool that you're having the heat and feature winners come out on the track and get their pictures taken, especially in a feature before they go to tech. That's a really important thing, and especially for Sean, he was pretty excited to have your first win, and the crowd in the grandstands behind you is awesome. Yep, good for you.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. So, are we ready to get to this interview? You got anything else you want to say before we get carried away?
Let's do it.
All right, let's bring Sean in here and have a little chat with him.
Oh, Sean.
Hello, Sean. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
Right on. First of all, I just want to congratulate you on your first feature win, mini mod feature win. That was fantastic to see. Congratulations on that. Great racing. The lap traffic that kind of helped you out a little bit, but regardless, you still had to finish the race, and you did just that. Congratulations on that.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Rob, you got anything you want to open up with before we get going?
Well, Sean, I just mentioned to Craig that it's really cool that we now have the feature winners out on the track in front of the grandstands. So you've got a really nice picture of your first feature win. You'll never forget that one. Now, as far as your driver interview, while you're taking the white flag, were you kind of planning on how you might do that, or was that all just tongue in cheek when you got there?
No, I wasn't even thinking about that yet. The week before, I spun out coming to the checkered. So, goal number 1 was finish and win the race.
Well, you were
the interview.
You did finish. You just finished it running sideways across the finish line last week. But good job. Congratulations on that. It was really neat to see you jump up on top of the car and show the fans all that excitement. And yep, that was pretty neat. So, all right, turn it back over to Craig.
All right, so we're going to get going here before we start talking about your first feature win. First, we'd like to know kind of a little bit how you got into racing in the first place. So I guess the first thing I'd like to know, Sean, was it always racing for you, or were you into other stick and ball sports, baseball, hockey, soccer, whatever as a kid?
It kind of wasn't always racing. I mean, I grew up on 2 wheels. I got my first dirt bike. My dad brought it home for me for my 2nd birthday. So I never started with no training wheels on it, nothing, just hopped on it and went. So I knew I always had a passion for stuff with motors. My dad got into racing when I was fairly young. I was about 5 years old. He got into racing. So I was always just out in the garage helping him, just watching everything. That's the big thing is when you're a kid is just watching it all, right? So.
Yeah, for sure. And did you come out to the track as a kid? Like before your dad started racing, did you come out to the track at all?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Charing Cross, so we always knew about it. The neighbor beside us, Mike Van Dyke, he always raced out there. So that's kind of how my dad got into it was through Mike. So we went out there a couple times, and then the next year my dad ended up building his own car, and it was hands down then we were racing. So
That's pretty cool. Now, did you play any other, like, did you play baseball or hockey or football, anything growing up at any point?
I played Charing Cross baseball when I was a kid. I think I went to one practice. I didn't go to any games. Figured out baseball wasn't my sport. Played hockey growing up. I got into hockey when I was about 8 years old. Played Glenn minor hockey, and then eventually I went and played Cyclones AAA hockey up until I was about 16. And then the year after that, I went and played with the Blenheim Blades for a year. In my first year of junior hockey as a 16-year-old, so it was cool, and I was always a goalie. So, playing hockey as a 16-year-old goalie with guys that are 21, 22 years old, it was a little intimidating.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Blenheim Blades, that's a pretty cool organization. I was involved with them for about 10 years, so that's a good organization. It's pretty cool that you played junior hockey there.
Yep.
Rob, do you have any questions about that?
No, just that. I mean, he's obviously he's athletic, especially with the hockey, football, and he said he did some BMX racing, and so there's a lot of racing there. That's brought him to where he is now. But I'm excited to hear the rest of the story. So carry on there, Craig.
Yeah. Did you do any competitive dirt bike racing, or are you just kind of ripping around the backyard?
No, I was about 3 years old when my dad finally built the track there in the backyard. He built me a go-kart. So a homemade go-kart with a little 5 horsepower Honda on the back. So I raced that around there. Always pretended I was racing. He built himself a go-kart too, and we'd always race around there. It was never fair though, because he had the 11 horsepower motor on his, and I only had 5.
Were you competitive at all though? Did he ever let you win?
Oh, he would let me win sometimes, but not after I came to him crying because he beat me all the time.
You never wanted to do go-karts competitively though, or there just wasn't?
I would have loved to get into it sooner, honestly, but just the way it played out, right? So.
Yeah, for sure. Rob, do you have any questions about any of that?
So he gave you the crate cart, and he got the open cart.
That's right. That's not fair.
I kind of like the actual roll cage. Most go-karts don't have a roll cage, but looks like he was looking after your safety even way back then. It's got you wrapped in there pretty good.
Yeah, no, that was kind of the thing with the go-kart racing. Is I don't want him racing something that doesn't have a roll cage. So at one time we kind of looked into those micro sprints, but it was just going to be tough, like with hockey and other commitments and stuff. Trying to go racing with him every weekend, and then they didn't race the micro sprints around here when I was a kid. Really, like 5150 had just been getting into it, right? So there wasn't really enough karts to make a class out of it, so it made it tough.
Yep, for sure. But so your dad, you said that your dad raced at, it was South Buxton Raceway at the time, but at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway, right?
Yeah, so my dad raced Comp 4s. He started racing when I was about 5-6 years old. I remember it was like the third time I ever went out to the track. My dad was going down the back stretch and got into the wall and rolled like 6 times. And I still remember my mom tells me the stories. I was freaking out, I guess. So, but no, he ended up having a pretty good career in the minis. He won a handful of championships, lots of checker flags. Never really wanted to go up to a mod or late model or anything, though. Just kind of doing it for fun, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you were on his pit crew. You were taking around, changing tires, adjusting the motor.
Yeah, I would say just in the motor, but yeah, he gave me the impact every now and again.
Oh, that's all right. It's a great way to learn, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Rob,
do you have any questions about that?
No, just he said his dad rolled on the back straightaway. Yeah, there's quite a few of us have done that, and we got back in and kept racing. I don't know. You'd think that would be the end of it, but nope. And but it looks like he's brought you along there, and he's your pit crew, helps you out on the race car at home. I'm sure that it's probably a lot of fun working with your dad, wrenching now and again, and well, most of the week getting ready for next week. But that's probably pretty cool that you can bond like that.
No, that's right. And for us, it's a family thing, right? So I get to spend time with my dad doing stuff that we like doing, so it makes it a lot better. Even when we do break stuff, it's still enjoyable.
Do you guys get scrapping or arguing ever, or
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
who's the boss? Are you the boss, or is he the boss?
Well, you see, he's just really stubborn and doesn't always listen to my ideas, but we argue a little bit, but that comes with it, right? So
Yep, everybody's opinionated, I guess, right?
yeah, that's right.
Rob, do you have anything about that?
Well, Sean, you got to be doing something right because I mean you won the feature last Saturday night, and other than got a little sideways coming out of 4 a week ago, you might have 2 feature wins back to back. That is outstanding, and so you guys are doing something right down there. So all I can say is keep up the good work.
Yep, thank you. It's been a long road traveled really since even last year. We figured out a lot of things on the car over the winter, and learning from last year to bring into this year. So this year's definitely been a big step for us. Just getting better. Drivers still learning lots. Like there's not a night even that I only run a heat race that I don't come off the track and learn something. So it's a big thing with racing as a rookie is you gotta learn. So
I see in that top picture there, your dad's ran the number 8, and you run the number 8. Obviously, I know why you picked it. Any idea why your dad picked the number 8? Any idea where that came from?
yeah, he was always a Dale fan, so he grabbed that number and ran with it. And it was always my dad's number, so I figured we got to keep it going.
Yep, for sure. Anyways, meanwhile, while your dad's racing on 4 wheels, you're racing on 2 wheels. You want to talk about your bike racing a little bit?
Yeah, so I was about 10 years old. I got into the sport of BMX racing. My first couple years, I ended up doing pretty good right off the hop in it. Honestly, my first year, we did okay. I didn't do too much traveling, but my second year we did a lot more traveling. We would race all around Ontario and stuff, and I ended up winning first in my age group in all of Ontario my second year. Third and fourth year, I did really well too. I think I won my age group both those years too. Went and raced Grand Nationals in Toronto. That's what that picture is up on the screen. I was about 15 in that picture, and I won against all the kids my age in Ontario or in Canada. Sorry, there. I was racing with guys from like Saskatchewan, BC, Alberta. So young Chatham kid coming racing with those guys. It was pretty cool, and especially to win. So after I won that, I ended up getting invited to the World Championships, which were going to be in South Carolina that year. So wanted to go, but just didn't end up going with other commitments. So
too bad. Well, congratulations on that. That's pretty cool that you're pretty successful in that. You I guess I don't know if you call it a home track or whatever, but you raced in Chatham. Is that kind of mainly where you raced?
Yeah, so that is where our home track is Wolf Creek BMX. That's what it's still called now. I still like Angela's stepboy there, Ryan Bonner's boy, Brady. He came out to the BMX track a couple times, and I remember seeing him there, and he liked it too. He's racing go-karts now, but yeah, I seen him out there a couple times. There's a bunch of other kids that I've seen around the racetrack that have recognized me from the BMX racing. So it's pretty cool.
Yep, for sure. Hey, Rob, did you ever try any BMX racing?
Nope, I did. We really didn't have that kind of stuff when I was a kid, but we just had a lot of trails around home and rode our bikes on that. And most kids had dirt bikes, dune buggies. I did all that. Didn't do any go-kart racing, but got into stock cars at an early age, and that's what I stayed with. But that's pretty cool. I'm wondering, is that a 117 on your bike there, Sean?
Yeah, so the way they'd because it was like a Canada national event, they do it by your birthday is how they put it on your number there. So
Okay.
I always like for all my provincial races and that kind of stuff, I'd always have the one on it. But because this was a national race, the way they did it was your birthday. So November, I was born November 11th month,
Yeah.
17th day. Anyways, that's kind of just how they did it then.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the picture. Beautiful picture. You flying up over a jump, but all the guys behind you, with the exception of one, are looking at you, going, "Oh man, that guy's getting some serious air there."
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. That was
Yeah, it is.
one of the funnest tracks I raced at there. So
Yeah. All right, Craig, I'll turn it over to you.
Did you ever wreck real hard on your bike? Because I can imagine coming down on there if you don't land it right, it's going to be ugly for you. Did you wipe out a few times?
oh yeah, I wiped it a lot of times. It's just get back up, shaking it off. Dad looks at you and tells you, "Stop being a wimp, get back out there," and you just do it. I did break my shoulder once though, my collarbone. That was a rough one. That one sucked. But other than that, it was all just get back up and let's do it again. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're talking to mini mod driver Sean McNally, and just a reminder, fans, we're going to be giving away 2 grandstand passes to any regular Saturday night racing. You just have to comment in the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway fan zone under the this video. Just throw a checker flag emoji in there to be entered, but it has to be in the fan zone that you're doing it. Sorry about that, Sean. So now we're going away from 2 wheels. We're going into 4 wheels. You decided you want to try dirt track racing out. Talk about that a little bit.
yeah, so it was the season of 2018 was when I kind of really got on my dad. We go out to the track with Sean and Trevor Jones, the Jones boys, all the time. Every weekend we go out there and watch them race, and I was like, "Come on, Dad! Like when are we gonna do it? Like let's get a car. I want to race. Like I'm not sick of the pedal bikes, but I want something with a motor now, right?" So I bugged them all that year. I always just bugged them from really since I was a kid. So it wasn't until the 2018 season we purchased a car. And then over the 2018-2019 winter, we went through it all, redid a bunch of stuff, put a new body on it, all that kind of stuff, and then made my rookie debut in the 2019 season.
How was that for you? Well, talk about your first experience on the track. I mean, you line up in the chute probably for practice or whatever.
Yeah.
But you line up for the chute and you're about to hit the big track. And talk about that experience a little bit. Were you nervous? How was that all for you, Sean?
So it's a funny story. First time I go up, it was a practice. It was a Friday night. We were going to race the following Saturday. And so we showed up for the Friday practice, just kind of shake down the car. I'd never been in it before and see what's going to happen. Go out there. The track is so much bigger in a car than you would imagine it in the stands. Like it's a completely different feeling, really. So my first time out, I made probably 15 laps, and they threw the checkered flag. And I looked down at my temperature gauge, and the temperature gauge was maxed out. I forgot to turn the fan on. So that was motor number 1 right there. Not even before opening night. That was just practice. So we didn't make opening night that year is what I'm getting at. Came back the following week, had a motor put together. It wasn't great, but we're learning still, right? Like it's a long process. And went out there, did fairly well. Ran the heat race, did okay. Ran the feature, did okay. I think I got a top 10 my first feature, which was pretty good. I was happy with that for it being my first time in a car. And really, just the remainder of that season, we struggled with a lot of issues with the car. You know, we went through a lot of motors. Went through 3 motors that year. Just little mistakes that you overlook and got to pay more attention to. Really, it's been a while since my dad had put together one of those motors, so there's a couple things we forgot. Anyways, yeah, so I think the whole 2019 season we actually only ended up racing 5 or 6 nights out of the whole year. But no, it was good learning experience. Like just getting out on the track and getting laps in. That's the biggest thing you can do as a rookie driver, especially not just practice laps. Like getting out there with other cars, right? Like figure out what it's like to drive side by side with another car, going full speed down the backstretch and knowing what the person beside you is going to do and how to anticipate it and react, right? So a lot of the 2019 season was just learning for us.
Okay, awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, on those little Ford 4-cylinders, they cool them with little 12-volt fans and stuff. And Sean's not the first guy that's told me that he forgot to turn the fan switch on, and yeah, you can grab 280 degrees in a hurry.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know why they don't have some sort of a safety built in there that it automatically comes on like a thermo disc or something. Anyway, so that particular car, would you have bought that from the Joneses, or where'd you get that car from?
No, so that car actually came from Brad Shivas. It came pretty well race ready. It needed a new body, a new deck. We put a different rear end in it. We had the motor from Brad. It was a fairly good motor for what we needed at the time. So it was a good car. Like that car was always, a top 10 car before. So it was a mod style front clip car. So it was always really heavy. Compared to the car we're running now. Anyways, that car was like 350 pounds overweight, and we had cut like every bar out of it that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, you're kind of battling against it when you're running a stock clip like that. A lot of nose weight, that's for sure. But a lot of guys will ask me about getting into stock car racing. And the first thing I say to them is, rather than try and build a car on your own, it'll nickel and dime you to death. Go buy a turnkey race car from somebody and start with that. It's a lot, when you think about it, it's a lot less expensive. Take it out and then start going from there. But again, a lot of these guys they think, well, I'm going to build my own car and end up spending a whole whack of dough and then spend more time after that trying to get it to handle. But yeah, that's so now what the car you have now, it's a tubular car, and where'd you get that from?
Yeah, so when I bought that first car, the car I raced in 2019 from Brad, he threw in an old Rayburn chassis that he had laying out back. So we took both the cars. The other car was just a bare chassis. This car in the picture here was turnkey, pretty well ready to go. So we just got the late model chassis for free, come with the car. I think at the time, Brad cut me a sweet deal. As I paid $2,500 for a turnkey mini mod, and then the Rayburn, other late model chassis there, which it's hard to find nowadays. I see some of these guys trying to sell their mini mods, and it's pricey. But
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So that's kind of how I got into it. It was fairly cheap, and the opportunity arose. So.
Well, it's also it's a really competitive division. Like you guys have 20 plus cars in most cases, and again, the fact that you've really only been racing it a couple of years. To have your first feature win, and again almost 2 in a row, that's outstanding. And running against some of those guys have been around quite a while, so I tip my hat to you. You're doing a fine job out there. Anyway, I'll turn it back over to Craig.
All right, so we talked about your 2019 season a little bit. I would imagine during the off season or at the end of the season, you probably got the car ready and we're getting things ready to go for 2020, and then the world turns into a turmoil and the track shuts down and COVID happens and your racing career is over as fast as it starts for a year anyway. How did that affect you in your racing, and what did you do to kind of stay sharp or get sharp, get better? Did you do some iRacing, or what kind of stuff did you get busy at, Sean?
No, I never had iRacing. I'd love to have a setup, but I didn't have one of those. But anyways, it was to stay sharp, really, just turning wrenches. I remember like after the end of the 2019 season, we tore the old car down and we pulled the new car in, and we just Dad and I we cut the front and the rear clip off of that new car, reclipped it, made it the way we want it. Um, we took our time building this car. It was we had 2 years to do it, right, because of COVID. So it all worked out pretty good. We took our time on this car and made it the way we wanted it. Got a bunch of new parts for it. Yeah, it's just staying sharp was really learning, like just learning putting it together and learning setup and what everything does in the car, right? Like all the suspension components. Like there's so much to learn, even with these cars being half as complex as what a late model is. They're very similar in the same way, but they're different. But these cars are really good for learning the fundamentals before you go to something like a late model or a modified. So
For sure, for sure. All right, well, we're just going to step away from the racing just a little bit, and we want to know a little bit more about you, Sean. So, what are you in school, or do you work? What kind of things do you do during the day?
yeah, so I went to Blenheim High School. I guess I'll start from there. Graduated from Blenheim in 2019. Went to the University of Windsor for a year. Went for automotive engineering. I liked it. Didn't really think that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I made a big decision to go to Ridgetown College for agriculture. Um, don't regret it. I love what I'm doing now. I just graduated there back in April. It's a 2-year program. Had the time of my life there. Really, it was a good time. But anyways, I'm working at Corteva AgriScience now as a junior field agronomist. So learning lots there. I've been farming with Todd Brady for 4 years now, 3 years, 4 years. So just always learning, right? Either race cars or farming.
Yeah,
Really,
awesome.
that's my life: race cars and firemen.
Well, I always have a follow-up question anyway, but I guess I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. When you're not farming and you're not working on cars, what kind of stuff does Sean McNally like to do for fun?
Oh, work on race cars. I'm not lying to you.
That's it, eh?
Yeah.
Just racing all the time. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, obviously it pays dividends for you, getting a future win, so that's pretty cool. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
No, other than a lot of guys I knew back in the day, if you had anything to do with farming, you were pretty mechanical and you could fix about anything. And that's what it takes sometimes in race cars. You know what it's like. You said you cut the front and rear clip off, and you got to get everything straight. And farmers tend to make sure that when they build stuff, it doesn't break. And you also mentioned that that you work with the Brady's, and I see that you've got them as a sponsorship. I know you're going to talk about them later, but that's pretty neat. That you went to University of Windsor for automotive engineering, and then kind of went back to your roots, farming, and all that stuff. Again, some of the best mechanics were started out as farmers, so good for you. Anyway, I'll turn it back over to Craig.
All right. And while we're learning a little bit more about you, are you married? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have kids, animals, pets? What kind of stuff have you got going on at home?
Oh, me and my girlfriend, we just recently got a dog. She's very high maintenance. It's hard to get stuff done at the shop when she's running around sometimes. But no, she'd be 4 months now. She's a golden retriever lab mix. She's super cute, but a real pain in my butt sometimes.
Just out of curiosity, what's your dog's name?
Her name's Willow.
Willow. That's not bad. That's not bad. A couple of weeks ago, we had Jake Hooker on here, and we met Bob the bunny. So
Oh yeah,
Willow the dog. That's not bad. We're pretty good with Willow the dog.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. So 2021 rolls around. It starts late, but the season does get underway full time finally. And you're out there and you're ready to compete. Talk about how your 2021 season went and what you do. You know, what went well, what didn't work so well.
Yeah, so 21, it was the first year with the new car, right? So I think opening night we went out there and we had run one practice prior to opening night and went out there. It was I ended up getting third place, really. So it was a good show for the first night, and then had some more motor issues kind of throughout the season. Struggled, you know, getting the funds to keep put motors together. So it was also kind of a short strung season, but we ran a lot more races last year than we did my first year. Didn't miss many nights, but just struggle with more issues, you know, trying to get the car dialed in and motors figured out and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was another big learning year for us. It was tough taking a full year off due to COVID. And not racing, and you know, 2 years later, do you even remember what it was like racing a completely different car compared to this one? So really, it was with this car, it was like starting fresh compared to the first year car. So big learning experience in 21.
First time in the car in 2021. Did you turn the fan on?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I never forgot after that day. I watched that pretty close now.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
He's probably got a little sticky note on the dash that tells him to turn that fan switch on. But anyway, so you said you bought yourself a house, and now you keep the car at your dad's place, or do you have it at your place?
Yeah, so a car's out at my dad's shop out in Morpeth. My house out in Merlin. So
cool. So does he do a lot of work on it, or does he wait for you to get there to do the work on it, or you got to wash it? Does he wash it? Who does that? I'll bet your mom washes that car. That's what I'm thinking.
I gotta say, Rob, like my mom, she's always been my biggest supporter from the moment I wanted to start doing something. Like racing isn't even the start of it. Like hockey, football, BMX racing. Like my mom and I, we went to so many BMX races even before me and my dad started doing it. So it's just my mom always was there to help me along the way, and she's always been like my number one supporter, that is, and she's always helped me out wherever she can, and whatever it takes to at this point get me back out on the racetrack. So that's been awesome. But back to the question, I do a lot of the work myself now. You know, first year, completely new to it. Me and Dad, we did everything together. Second year, you know, he helped me build this new car. He's an engineer, so he's really good with the computer stuff, figuring everything out. Like this car, we redesigned it all on the computer before we even built it. Like everything was looked at before this car even was put together. You know, started with a bunch of blueprints, built this car, me and my dad together. At the time, he helped me with a lot of the pipe bending, that kind of stuff. But I did all the welding on this car, welded it all myself. Yeah, and then this year kind of took a step. Been doing a lot of everything just all by myself this year. So
does your dad build the motors for you?
Recently, so yeah, we my first 2 years, Dad and I always built the motors out of our shop, and then this past year I had a new sponsor come aboard, R&M Precision Machine Works. So those guys did all the machining for us, and then we just took it back to the shop and assembled it. So yeah, we still build our own motors. It's just those guys helped us with the machine stuff. So
That's good to know. I mean, you kind of have your hands on the whole race car. Gives you when you do that, and you understand that part of it, especially if when you make adjustments on the car and you say, oh, that worked or that didn't work. It's nice to have your finger on the pulse. I can see that's why you're running up front, is because you understand that, and that's a major step right there, is learning how that car should feel. So good for you. I'll turn it back over to Craig.
That's kind of a big thing, is learning how your equipment works. Like, the driver's the only one that knows, right? So like, I remember even 2020, the year before this one, like, I got a book like that thick of just stuff that, is written down so that we can know what made a difference, and, like, trying so many different things just to try and get the car to my driving style more so.
Oh, good for you. All right, I'll turn it over to Craig.
All right, and fans, just a reminder, we are doing the grandstand giveaway, so make sure you're getting in the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway Fan Zone Facebook group and put the checker flag emoji under this video so that you can be entered to enter those tickets only for regular Saturday night racing in the grandstands. All right, so 2021 season, Sean, it kind of went okay for you. At the end of that season, were you thinking already ahead to 2022, or what was that off season like and getting prepared for the 2022 season?
Not much, honestly, went on from 21 to 22. Like, we had the car working pretty good there last year. Just trying to get better over the winter, finding everything that could be hurting us and trying to make it better. And just a lot of the off season this past year was just finding everything that wasn't perfect and making it perfect. And it made a big difference. We made some minor adjustments, going through everything. It honestly felt like kind of a slow winter compared to the winter before that, just because we're building a completely brand new car, right? So,
yeah. And I'm sure it didn't help that it took us forever to actually get our season started with the typical spring weather and the rain and canceling and whatever. So, I mean, you already have the itch there, and then we make you wait any longer, but there's not really much we can do about the weather. But as you said, it was a slow winter, and it ended up being extended on you. So, but you were ready to go when the green flag dropped in the 2022 season. You were ready to go. You were pretty well running up front. Talk about the 2022 season, getting going. What was that like when you came out on the track for that first green flag?
I remember we went out to the first practice there, and I came in off the track, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I said, like, this thing is driving like a pile of crap, and it was not good. And we made some adjustments for the following night when it was opening night, and it made a big difference. We went out there on opening night, and we had a pretty good turnout. We were battling with West there with about 5 to go for first place, and just got together to race an incident, and I spun out, ended up bending a spindle, wrecked a lower control arm. So we were done for the night. The following week came out real strong too. I think I won my heat race, and then I won my heat race opening night too. The weekend after, won my heat race again. And then in the feature, I had a little mishap. One of the spark plug wires came off, so it was misfiring it wasn't running right. And we didn't end up finishing the feature week 2. Week 3 came around. We were running good, and then driver just got a little excited there. on the last lap coming out of 4 and spun himself out.
Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, I forgot to ask you this a while back, but I know that Kyle Ross is a friend of yours, and so is Jake Hooker, and Kyle being Jake's crew chief. Does he ever bring any tips over from the 1A late model and say, hey, you should try this or that? And has he shared any of that stuff with you?
Oh yeah, Kyle's always been there to help, man. Like Kyle's good stuff. I got a lot of respect for Kyle. At his age and taking on the role with those guys that he has, it's good for him. He's a smart kid, but I kind of just do my own thing when it comes to setup. I know what I like, I know what I've tried, and I know I'm in the ballpark where I am right now, and I know my car's set up a lot different than a lot of the other guys out there. I'm just sticking with what's working for me. So I never say, Kyle, you're wrong. I just say, Kyle, I got her going pretty good right now.
Well, you certainly do, and yeah. So whatever you're doing, you got to keep doing it. It was really nice to see you win last Saturday night, and I guess that you'd be the first feature winner we had, other than I know the 46 had some difficulties the week before, but he won 3 in a row. So that's not bad when you're the only other guy out there to win other than the 46. So you're doing something right. So keep that up. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. All right, I'll turn it back over to you, Craig.
All right, so we finally made her here. 2022 season. It's still fresh in everybody's mind. I'm sure that it's still fresh in your mind. But 2022 last Saturday, you pulled off a pretty impressive feature win. You had a little bit of help, but you still pulled it off. You still had to finish the race. And rolling under the flag stand, and I'm there to meet you. And man, the look on your face, you couldn't have been more excited, and I was excited for you, to be real honest. And it was cool to see you get out and jump on top of the car and everything. Talk about that race, talk about that moment, talk about all of that, Sean, because that's your first feature win. That's absolutely amazing.
No, like that was a super special moment to me. I remember coming across the checkered flag, just screaming in my helmet. I was super pumped, like I dreamed just since I was a kid, like since my dad started racing, just winning my first feature, right? So it was big moment for me. I knew we could do it. I know we had the car to do it. It's just in time of the driver, really. So I'm still learning. I'm not perfect every lap, but we got the car, and driver's getting a lot better compared to last year. So now it's just a super special moment coming across for the double checkers there. It was super cool feeling.
Absolutely. And did you have a big cheering section out in the grandstands? Was there a lot of people out there rooting for you?
Oh yeah, I think my mom blew everybody's eardrums out. she was going nuts.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Rob, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, as I indicated a little earlier, we changed the format up a little bit this past week, and we had the feature winners out on the track for a short interview. I watched you when you jumped out of the car and you jumped up on the roof and shook that checker flag, and the fact that it was your first feature win and you got to do it in front of a packed grandstand. There's no better feeling than that. Those are the rewards of all your hard work, and all this stuff started back in your BMX racing and those 2 little go-karts that you and your dad raced in the backyard. It all started there, and here you are with your feature win. It's really neat to see a young guy like you do that. So those are things that an old guy like me gets a kick out of, just watching that kind of stuff. It's pretty neat. So good for you.
The first one, I would assume the first one is probably the hardest to get. So now we're just gonna sit back and we're gonna watch and see how many you tack up now. What do you think about the remainder of your 2022 season, Sean? You think you got to run at the championship or what?
Well, pressure's off now. Got my first win. You know, they always say the first one's the hardest. So I'm excited for the rest of the year. We got an awesome class, honestly, guys. Like this group, like this class is not underlooked, but it's a great class for what it is. Like we have, 28 cars that are there every single night, and it's competitive racing, right? Like everybody's any given car any night has the chance to win. Like it's a pretty even class, there's I know of at least 5-6 cars out there that each got a shot to win every week. So it's cool. I'm excited for the rest of the season.
Yep, for sure. And like you were saying about the mini mods, it's a great class. And not only can any number of cars win on any given night, but all the way through the pack, there's a battle going on somewhere, and it's always good, clean racing and a lot of fun to watch. You guys do a heck of a job. And I really personally, I really enjoy watching you guys. I always have, and you guys always put on a great show. And it's a lot of fun for the fans. So thank you to you drivers for doing that. And actually, there wasn't. Well, I guess it kind of got cautioned, few cautions there at the end of the race. But for the first good part of the race, it was a good, clean race. But that's how you guys do it. It's always a lot of fun to watch. So I guess I want to know now. We're just going to go back a little bit. We got all that covered now. You did say that you went out to the track as a youngster to watch your dad, or went out as a fan or whatever. What's your favorite memory growing up at the track? What's your favorite memory, and who was your favorite driver?
Don't put me on the spot like that. I think my dad's watching. I don't know. My favorite driver growing up, man, it was I don't know. I always liked Dale Glassford. I thought he was an awesome driver. But at the end of the day, it was always my dad. Like going out and hanging out with my family every weekend, and at the racetrack. And as a kid, it's little moments like that you realize, this is what I want to do someday. And I'm doing this at a young age, and I want to keep doing it. So always kind of had that dream in the back of your head, and finally getting to do it now, it's and being successful at it, it's an awesome feeling. But no, my favorite moment at the racetrack is when my dad won his 2009 points championship, and like I remember sprinting out to the winner's circle with my mom, and my dad he was so happy. It was his first championship he won there, so that was one of the pictures in the previous slide there. So it was awesome.
Absolutely. And what's the there's that picture there that you were talking about. What's the future look like for you, buddy? Are you gonna stick around the mini mods for a while, or are you gonna kind of make your way into other classes or try some different stuff out?
Yeah, I mean, I love the mini mods. It's a really good class. It's not cheap, but it's more affordable. I'd love to get no modified someday. That's kind of the next step is when we get the mini mod figured out and, drivers ready to take the next step, I think we'll probably go to a modified.
Awesome. Well, good. We hope that works out for you, and best of luck in your 2022 season. Rob, do you have any other questions for Sean McNally?
I don't. Why don't we let him tell us about his sponsors and that kind of stuff? So give us a shout out to all those people that support you there, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be doing as well as I am without the help of all these amazing people. Like, first of all, I got to thank Todd Brady Acres. The amount of support and help that the family has given me to continue to race has been awesome. Can't thank those guys enough. Brady Ag, Darren Brady, spray spiders, houses, whatever you need done, any spraying concerns, get a hold of him. R&M Precision Machine Works, those guys have been awesome to deal with this year. They helped me out big time. Like I said, we had motor issues my first couple years, and it seems like we got one that's staying together now. So it's a good feeling. those guys do awesome work. Anything like small motor to big semi motor, they'll take it on. Race motors, anything you can imagine. Very, very well priced too. Ridgetown Timber Mart, that's another guys I got to thank. Chris Remzik, Josh Remzik, Brady Remzik, Charlene Remzik. Josh, he was always one of my best buddies growing up. And I asked him, hey, you want to help me keep racing? So they came and helped me out with some tires and stuff. And they've been awesome as well.
Awesome. And what about some swag? You got some swag available? Or are you going to have some swag available? And how can fans purchase or look into that from you?
Yeah, we had shirts made up last year. I don't have any of them left. We're working on 2022 design right now. Should be. I'll make a post on Facebook when they become available, but it probably won't be for another 2-3 weeks anyways. But yeah, just get a hold of me at the track. I'm super approachable. Like, don't be nervous. Come over to the trailer. Come talk to my mom, talk to my dad, all those people. Anybody wearing an 8 shirt already, you just ask them, and we'll get you hooked up.
Awesome. And social media, do you have any Facebook groups, Facebook pages, or just your own personal account?
I just got all my own personal stuff, but send me a friend request. I'm pretty good with that. So
awesome. Well, that sounds very good. Rob, do you have any more questions for Sean before we let him go here?
Nope. I think he's. You can tell that the pattern again from the little go-karts in the backyard, the BMX bikes, dirt bikes into his mini mod. It's obvious he's a racer. He's pretty competitive about it, and it shows up on the racetrack. I just can't wait to see him continue out there, giving those guys run for their money.
Try your best.
Yeah. Well, congratulations once again on your first feature win, Sean, and we wish you all the best of luck in the rest of your 2022 season. And we thank you very much for taking a few moments to join us tonight. This has been a pretty good interview, and we really appreciate you jumping on here with us.
Yeah, it's been awesome talking to you guys.
All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'm sure we will talk to you in Victory Lane sometime soon.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thanks, Sean.
Yep. Talk to you later, guys.
Yep.
See you guys. Well, Rob, there you go. We know a lot more about Sean McNally. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, again, there's so many young guys and girls that are racing in all of our divisions. All of them, have different hobbies and backgrounds, and but it all brings them to the same place, and that's the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway on Saturday night to race. That's pretty cool to learn a little bit about them, and they're not just another race car with a number on it out there. There's a personality there, and that's what I like to learn about. So, yeah, I'm glad that we do this. And as you said, this is our 25th episode, and I know that there's like 100 registered drivers, so it's going to take us a little while to get through most of these, but it's fun.
Yep, for sure. And drivers, we're always looking for more drivers to interview. It doesn't matter if you're shy. We can accommodate if you want to talk a lot or not talk at all. We can make it all happen. If you want to jump on here with us, me and Rob, and tell your story, just message me, message Angela Young Bonner, and we'll get you all set up with that. And you never know, if you agree to sign up for an interview, as it worked out for Sean, you might end up winning a feature win just before your interview, and then we can come on here and talk to you about it. So maybe that's the good luck. Maybe that's the good luck charm you guys all need. So for sure, jump on here or get a hold of me, get a hold of Angela, and we'll get you on here because this is a lot of fun, and we definitely want to keep doing it. If you want to watch this interview or any of the previous 25, just jump onto the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway Fan Zone Facebook group. That's where all the draws and the videos and the information is. We also have the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway Facebook page if you want to check that out. For again, the schedule and the information is all on there. And also our interviews are on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is SOMSpotlight. So if you want to see any of the interviews and you want to watch them on your smart TV, just click over to the YouTube channel and you can just watch them all night long if you want to. Well, Rob, that's it. I mean, we've come to an end, and it's been a lot of fun. Oh, hold on, we're gonna pick the winner here of the tickets. We're gonna do that first before we jump off here. So there's that little spinny thing. Good luck to all the entrants. Thank you very much for everybody tuning in with us. This is cool. And the winner is Michael Elliott. Michael Elliott, congratulations, Michael Elliott. You've won yourself 2 free grandstand passes to any regular Saturday night racing. Get a hold of me, Michael. Reach out to me, and I will make sure I get you set up with all the information for that. And I'm trying to remember right now who next week is for. Oh, yes, OSS Driver, Ontario Sportsman Series. They're coming to town very soon. And we're going to have Mike Herniak Jr. on here. We're going to talk to him next Monday night. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Asphalt races, first time on the dirt. What do you think of that, Rob? That's going to be really cool.
His grandfather disqualified me in 1984. So, but I got over it a long time ago.
I was just going to say, at least you're not bitter.
No, not at all. Yeah, it was his grandfather was a great racer. In fact, his grandfather was part of the Johnny Banks racing team that went down to Daytona when they used to race the Chargers back in the day. So yeah, there's a lot of guys from this area that went down there with Johnny, and yeah, it's a pretty cool deal. But I know his dad very well. I'm excited to see the Ontario Sportsman Series coming to the dirt. I've had a lot of phone calls from a lot of their competitors about gears and setup stuff, and so they're really going to up their game for this one. So they're going to put on a good show. Any fans out there that want to see something cool, watch these asphalt cars on the dirt. It's going to be a neat one. So I know the place will be packed for that.
Yep, for sure. And their first race, they're going to do 50 laps. They're going to do qualifying in 50 laps. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think we're going to have a great time. So yeah, join us next week. SOMSpotlight presented by Sun Parlor Trailers, when Mike Herniak Jr. will join us, and he'll give us all the lowdown on the OSS and what we can expect of them on the dirt, and if they're prepared or not prepared, or what they think they got going into. They've been Kevin Trevelyan, he's been running some practices here the last week, but the last couple of weeks he's been running some practices. So they're getting some information, and they're going to have some things prepared. So it's going to, like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll talk to Mike Herniak Jr. next week about all that. This has been SOMSpotlight presented by Sun Parlor Trailers. That's Rob Young. My name is Craig Smolders. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.
Good night, everybody.